Okay. Yeah, we're going to be recording this meeting as well, just like last time. Okay, so does everyone have Blender open? Just give like the thumbs up if you have Blender open, and then we can get started. Okay, awesome. So just to recap from last time. Last time we learned the basics of moving around blocks, adding blocks. It's like not blocks, but like moving blocks. It's like moving meshes, adding meshes, and just like moving, rotating, scaling, stuff like that, right? So just to recap from there, we can move around our cube right here by using our toolbar on the side over here. We have our arrows, and we can just move that around how we want to. We can move it in this direction as well. We learned this last time. But on top of that, just to make things faster, because we're going to be going at a faster pace today, you can use the hotkey. So a hotkey is basically a button you can press on your keyboard to start an action, right? So if we want to move this cube, we don't have to go all the way to the toolbar and select our arrows. What we can do, you can press G on our keyboard, and now we're in move mode. So we're not really moving in any specific direction right now. I just remember it's just G, and right, we can enter move mode, and we're not moving in any specific direction. Like we don't have those arrows like we did last time. We can't move it in one direction, two directions. All we have is just we're moving in all three directions at once, and that's not really accurate. That's not really what we want, right? If you want to make like a good project and like have things be accurate in your scene. Oh, that's cool. So what we can do, right? So let's start to get let's get to know our axes, right? So in Blender, there's 3 dimensions, right? There's up, which is Z. So you can view your axes from here. There's up, which is Z. There's this green line over here, which is our y-axis. You can see you could just move along your y-axis from here, right here, and then you have your x-axis, which is red, right? And then this just shows the basics of it, like where you're moving, right? So if you can see, when we select our cube, this is, we'll just go to select by going to toolbar over here. We can select our cube, and we press G, right? And we want to move on a specific axis. We can just press the axis that we want on our keyboard. Say we want to move on the x-axis. Remember, that's the red axis right there. That's the red line, right? That's the red direction. So we can press X, and then now we're moving on the red line or the red axis, right? We can undo if we don't want to move. We can press the right button on the mouse, right? That'll just put it back to where we started it, or we can just press the left button on your mouse, and that'll go just put it in place. Now you see we moved our cube on the x-axis or the red axis. We moved it over there. Now if you want to move it on the y-axis, we hit G, then you can hit Y. Now we're moving on the y-axis, or the green axis. We're moving in this direction now. We can also do that with the z-axis. So G to move again, and then we can press Z on the keyboard, and now we're moving up and down on the z-axis. So let's move our cube back to the center by hitting.
How do you do that? Like, I don't really understand. Like, you press X.
You have to press G first. You have to select the you can go select your cube. You hit G.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Yep. There you can. So can everyone just try moving around on different axes? Right. We can just try moving around like you did with the arrows, like you did last time. Just try moving around on the different axes and get comfortable with that, because we're gonna have to do that pretty quickly when we're in today's project. Oh, and also I'm guessing everyone knows how to just like orbit around and move around in Blender. I didn't really cover that, but we did that last time.
Do you want me to take over
No, we just move. We still need like the scale
All right.
and stuff. So now that we have this, right, now we can move around on our on the different directions, right? So if we hit G again, right, we're in move mode, right? And then what we can do, we can hit Shift, and then we can press either X, Y, or Z. And then what will happen is that we'll be moving on 2 axes. We'll be moving in 2 directions, right? And whatever button we press alongside Shift, that axis will not be included in where we move, right? So say I wanted to move this around over here, but I didn't want to move it on the Z axis. I didn't want to move it up and down. So I hit G, I'd hit Shift, and then I'd hit Z. So therefore, I'm moving it, but I'm not moving it on the Z axis. So I'm just moving it around, but I'm not moving up or down. As well, along with that, I can hit G, then Shift, then X again, and now I can move it on all the axes except the X axis. So let's just try doing that really quick, and then we'll go over like the rotate and scale and stuff like that. Okay, good. So now we'll try the rotating. So for moving it around, it was G, right? But for rotating, it's going to be R. So if we first select our cube and we hit R, you see now we're rotating in all directions. We don't want that. So let me just right click in order to put it back to normal. Hit R, then we can rotate on our 3 axes again. Where I'm rotating on the Y axis right now. Now I'm rotating on the X axis, rotating on the Z axis. Sorry, rotating on the Z axis. Right there. So I can go rotate that, and I just rotate it how I want. Control Z. Actually first. And I can see what I'm doing. I did this thing in the corner, so I can see what I'm pressing. So if I select that, and then I want to rotate that, I could just do Shift X. Now I'm rotating. Sorry, we didn't cover that yet. We can exclude an axis that we don't want to move on by using the same way that we excluded an axis for the move. So it works the same way with rotate as well. We can hit Shift X, and now we're moving. Sorry, now we're rotating in all directions except the X axis, except the X direction. We can do the same with the other ones, just like the move. See now we're rotating like this instead. So just try doing that. Try rotating. Get comfortable with that. Okay, now that we're comfortable with that, we'll go over scaling. So scaling, It works the same way as the move and the rotate. We can hit S to scale this time. S is the hotkey for scale. And now you can scale on the x-axis, you can scale on the y-axis, and you can scale on the z-axis, just like that. And then again, we can scale in every direction except the direction we hit shift and then the direction we press. So say we want to scale in all directions except the z direction. So hit S to scale, and then hit shift Z. Now I'm scaling in every direction except the up and down direction, which is, yes, it's S to scale. S is the hotkey for scale.
So I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but like, also like, what is the key to like get other shapes?
To get what?
To get other shapes.
To get other shapes?
Yeah.
It's Shift A, remember?
Thank you.
Shift A. That's how you add other shapes. And all these moves, they work on all different shapes. They're just standard in Blender. Right. So if I delete this by selecting it first and then hit X, and then delete, right? I can delete like that. If I do Shift A, I can add, say, a sphere, and I can move this on the x-axis. I can move this on the y-axis, just based on the hotkeys. So the hotkeys work for anything. So now, so the reason we use hotkeys in Blender is that it's just so much faster than actually using the toolbar, right? We can just use our keyboard and not have to look at our toolbar or just or use this at all. We can just use our hotkey and we could just move stuff around with that. And it's much faster than actually using the toolbar. Okay, so now that we know about hotkeys and I've done like a bit of review from last time, I'm going to go over the basics of edit mode. So edit mode is if I add my cube back. Can everyone add their cube back, please? So if we add our cube back, right, you can go select your cube and then you can hit tab on your keyboard. Now you're in edit mode, right? Remember, just okay, you can add the cube back, but so remember it's X. You can go select the object, then you can hit X and then delete to delete it, and then to add it back, it's Shift A, and then cube. Shift A, mesh, and then cube, like there. And if you press that, you should get a new cube. So now that we have this, we can go into edit mode by first selecting our object. Then we can hit tab, and now we're in edit mode. You see that we have a bunch of new tools available to us now, and some stuff looks different. So now they're in edit mode, right? We can go select and move around each one of the faces or vertices. Sorry, we can go move around each vertice of the object. So vertices, this took me a while to actually get down. Sorry, Dang, you have a question? Yeah.
Wait, how do you add a cube again?
Shift A.
Okay.
Shift A, mesh, and then cube. So vertices, they took me a while to actually understand, but so every single object, it's made of vertices, right? It's made of a bunch of points that when connected together, you get your object, right? So our cube right here, it has a vertice over there, it has a vertice over here, right? So this cube has 8 vertices in total, right? And when they are connected together, you get a cube, right? So say if I go out of edit mode, you guys don't need to do this, but I go out of edit mode, I can go to UV sphere, and then I could just show you this, but this UV sphere, it has a lot of vertices, right? It's made up a lot of a lot of different points that when connect together, you get a sphere. So I want to delete this. I can go back to my cube right here. But we're going to be making a lantern today. So that's basically how vertices work. You don't have to select a vertice on its own, but if you want to, you could just select it like you would be selecting an object, and you could just move that vertice around. And you see, I'm editing the object. I'm altering the object by moving the points that it's made up of. See, I can move this up. I can move this down. I could go move this wherever I want, and we get all these really cool shapes. All right, so if I just hit Control Z, I could just undo those actions. Right click, Control Z. And if you go over here into the top left corner, you have a question? Dang, do you have a question?
Yeah. I found this shape that looks like a donut. What's it called?
That's called a torus, but we'll cover that later.
Yeah, we'll use that later.
Also, how do you get the corners again?
You have to be in edit mode, right? You could just select your object, then hit Tab on your keyboard, and then now you're in edit mode. And you can just select the different corners like that.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And so we don't just have to select corners. We can select edges and faces, right? So if you go to our top left corner over here, right, there's these 3 buttons over here. Well, if we go over here to the middle button, right, now we're in edge select mode. Now we can go select the different edges of the mesh, right? So say I've selected this edge right here. See, it's white. I can go move this up, and now I've selected like that. So you can do it like that. Another thing you can do with edges, you can rotate them. I can rotate that like that instead. That's another way of like editing the shape. Control Z, just go back like that. Now the third button under here is face select mode. So now we can select the individual faces of our mesh, right? I can go move this up. I can rotate this like that. And I could do a bunch of stuff, right? I'll hit Control C to undo that. That's the basics of edit mode. Remember, it's tab, and that's how you actually get into edit mode. But now I'm going to hand off to Jason, which will be showing you what you're going to be making today, and will guide you through actually making it using edit mode.
Yep.
Also, just one last question. Also, how do I like move? Like, can you move like actually, or are you like in a fixed spot?
Move what?
Like, I mean, like move your view.
We covered that last time, but here I'll take you into a breakout room because we covered that last time, and I don't want to start in class. But I'll put you in a breakout room, and then we'll go over that. I'll just stop my screen share, and then Jason, go ahead.
Yep. So basically, I'm going to take what Ayan just did and combine a bunch of those shortcuts. So this is a blank Blender file. Just create a new general. And then we're going to take the cube that we have, and we're going to use our new keybinds, and we're going to move it up. Hold on. There we go. We're going to move it up a little just so we have a little bit of space to work with. Maybe even more. And now that we've moved the cube up, we're going to use scale, and we're going to scale it along the Z-axis. We're going to make it a little taller. Not too much taller, just a little bit. So it should be about the height of two cubes combined. Once you have that, let me move your view so that you can see the bottom of your object. And we're gonna start using edit mode. First click off of the object so you don't have anything selected, and then go up to the top where we were just using select modes and use the face selector so that you can select different faces on your object. And we're gonna select the bottom face of our cube. What we're gonna do with this bottom face is we're gonna shrink it just ever so slightly. And it should have kind of a V shape. Now I'm going to introduce a new shortcut. I'm sorry if that's a lot of shortcuts, but we'd never get through this without them. We're going to use the extrude shortcut, which is E. When you press E, it creates a whole new face for you to play with. So we're going to extrude this. And we're going to bring it down a little bit. It's already along the Z axis. We're just going to bring it down. Well, you have to go up to select the face, you have to go up to the top next to this edit mode and make sure you have the rightmost one selected, the face selector. And then once you have your bottom face extruded here, we're going to scale that out. We're just going to use this base scale function. We're not going to use any of the axes. We want to scale it out all the way.
How do you scale it?
S. S is scale.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so this is going to create the base of our lantern. Feel free to change the size or position of that however you'd like to make it the way you think a lantern should be. And then to get the top part of our lantern here, I don't know, can we get a raise of hands, see who downloaded our provided repo? We shared a drive link last time. Did anyone download that one? Let me see. I can't see.
Also, I missed a few steps. So like, how do you like get the triangle? I mean, not the triangle, rectangle.
The cube, you do Shift A and then you add the cube through mesh.
I'm going to share the link for the repository
yeah,
where all the.
So if no one has that downloaded, we can go off of our eyeballs just to save time, but I will import.
Yeah. So just like go into the drive and like show me how to do it.
Okay.
Using the drive link.
I have to find the link. Okay. Oh, I don't have my whole screen shared. Hold on. Screen. There we go. So I'm just gonna go into our chat, open the drive, and you'll see lantern reference.png. And we're gonna download that. Just right click and download it. I already have it downloaded, so I'll let you guys do that. Then we're going up under edit. And if any of you remember last time our preferences, we're going to edit our preferences. Once you get there under add-ons, you'll find you'll have to search it up. Search up import images as planes. And you should see this and make sure to click on it and enable it. And so once you have that enabled, you have to leave edit mode to add a new object, but we're going to add a new object. gonna add an image, and we're gonna add images as planes. So I'm gonna go to where I have our thing saved, and I'm gonna import that. And so you'll see this plane down here. It's just a flat thing. We don't see anything. So we're gonna go up to our top right corner, and we have all these options here. We want the one right next to the one that's already selected. It's called the viewport shading. And give it a second. All right. Now that that is selected, you'll see our image here. And this is basically a reference. References are actually used a lot in 3D design, especially when you want a realistic object. We're not using a realistic object, but that's fine. So I'm just gonna scale this and scale the object. Then basically what we want to do is use 3 on our numpad so that we're looking at it straight on. And we're just gonna move around our object here with our hotkeys until the shape matches our current reference. I'll give everyone a couple of minutes to figure that out. If you have any issues or questions, please feel free to put in the chat. Yep.
Bye. Hello.
Yeah.
Are we leaving?
No, it's I'm giving everyone time. I'm sorry I stopped sharing my screen, but
Yep,
Uh,
you can start back again.
yeah, I was just giving people time if they had issues figuring out how this works. Hold on. Try to get your image, oh, that's the wrong, to match up with our model here. For those people who don't have a numpad, up here you'll see your Z, X, and Y axis. Just click on the X axis and it'll give you that same view. Other than that, does anyone have any questions?
Can you copy and paste the structures?
I'm sorry, what?
Like, can you copy and paste shapes?
Yes.
You just do Command C and V.
It should work. I would use Shift D, which is to duplicate.
Wait, Shift D.
Shift D. If you have your object selected, Shift D, duplicate.
How do you map the imported image onto a 3D thing?
So, okay, I'll delete this one. Or I'll just add a new one. So do you have your import images as plain add-on?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
like there, but it's like horizontal.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna add a new one. So I added my reference. You probably are seeing this. Are you seeing this?
It's like instead of being vertical, it's horizontal. The image. It's like flat.
What do you mean?
You can
Oh, it's like
rotate
up.
it for now.
It's like, oh, okay. So I just rotate it.
Oh, are you okay? Yeah, you can rotate. I don't quite understand that.
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
Quick show of hands. How many people have this set up? All right, not anyone.
Just put a thumbs up, and then if you're at where Jason is.
All right, and for the people who haven't finished, if you're stuck, please put in the chat. I'm sure Ayan knows how to help you, or I can help you right now. I'm gonna, all right, yeah, move on. So for the people who do have this set up, and for the people who don't, we're literally just gonna keep on following this outline here, so you won't be missing much. I left edit mode, so I have to click back onto my object and press tab. And we're gonna move up here. I'm gonna select the top face now because we have to create the kind of hat of our lantern. So once you have the top face selected, make sure it's only the top face. Go back to the view. You're gonna extrude up just the tiniest bit. And it should match up with the bottom of the hat on your reference. I'm just gonna call it a hat. I don't. And then once you have that, you're gonna extrude it again, but you're not gonna move it up. You're just gonna press E and then left click. And so that's just basically extruded a layer right on top of our current layer. And we're gonna keep that layer selected and we're gonna scale it outward. And it's basically, it has to be the width of the lantern. It's a bit thin of a line, so I don't know if everyone can see that. But it should reach all the way across from end to end. Once you have that, we are going to extrude that upward. And it has to be reaching the height of the next level of your lantern reference. And we're going to scale that down to match our reference. So right around here. And you should be starting to see your lanterns are already starting to look like a lantern and not just a random image. To get our next piece of our puzzle, first, actually, has anyone had trouble with that I'm actually just gonna wait 2 minutes, let everyone figure that out first. All right.
Also, also, can you please also give us more time, and also, how do you ungroup stuff?
Undo stuff is Control Z.
I mean, ungroup.
Ungroup, you just click off. How do you scale down the top? Once you have the face selected, it's the same scale.
Yeah, like also my lantern is kind of like one shape for some reason, and it's like
It's what?
it's like attached to each other, and it's not supposed to. And I can't edit without
Here,
like editing the other shapes. So
I'll take you into a breakout room.
All right, yeah. I am gonna start moving quite a bit faster because last time we did this, it took like 2 hours, and we don't have 2 hours. We only have 20 minutes left. So yeah, Ayan can help you. So to get the next piece of our puzzle, we're gonna use inset. That's just the I shortcut. Just press I, and you're gonna move it in. It should be about the width of the next step of our lantern. Now, once you have this face selected, you can actually just keep scaling it to the size that you want. Then we're gonna extrude that one up like before. And we're gonna, don't want to extrude it again. We're gonna scale that to the size of our model. All right. Once we have that, we're done with this part of the lantern for now. We're gonna exit edit mode. Does anyone have any questions? I won't give you a break because we do have to get this next part done pretty quickly. All right, no one? Okay. So we're gonna create new objects to get the handle of our lantern. First, we're gonna we're gonna go into mesh, and we're gonna get a UV sphere. And it should spawn in as this big circle made out of, or sphere made out of squares. And we're gonna move that up with our shortcuts up past the top of our lantern. Once you're there, you're gonna right click on the UV sphere, and the first option should be shade smooth. And that'll give you a smooth surface. Once you're done with that, we're gonna scale that down, and we're gonna move it with the Z-axis down and just kind of meld it into the lantern until it matches our reference image. There we go. Okay, someone's saying isospheres are technically, yeah. Isospheres are made of isometric shapes. But when you smooth them out, you have less resolution. The reason why it uses less CPU is because there's less vertices. So when you have that kind of thing, all of this is just the same moving objects. We're going to take the torus that someone was talking about earlier, and it kind of looks like a donut. We're going to move it up, and we're going to scale it down and shade it smooth like before until it matches our reference. So we're going to have to use rotate and scale. Nope. Oh, hold on. Zoom keeps interrupting me. There we go. And we're going to rotate it so it kind of looks like it's resting on the top of our lantern here. It may kind of clip in. You can just rotate a little bit. Mostly rotating on the x-axis if you're using the same axis. All right. So, does anyone have any questions? Because this next part is going to go by really fast, unfortunately, we don't have that much time. All right. So we are going back. We're going to select our original part of our lantern here. And we're going to press tab to go into edit mode. And then using shift and left click, we're going to select all the faces of our lantern here. Yeah, I'm just going to hide the reference for now, just so it's not bothering us. Once you have these selected, right click, and the first option should be subdivide. We're going to do that 1, 2, 3 times. Once you're done, click off of it so you're not selecting any. And then the next part is going to take a little bit. We have to get it done quickly though. So we're going to follow our reference pattern. If you look at the reference image, it should be following this pattern, selecting these, and then we're going to use our extrude setting from before, and we're going to extrude them back. Hold on. Okay. Do I have? Hold on. I have a duplicate. That is why. Okay, there we go. Back. If you don't have that issue, anyways, we're just gonna go through and we're gonna extrude every side. We're gonna do the same thing on all 4 sides. And so in this process, we're going to be creating the windows for our lantern. And if you're fancy like Ayan, you can create candles inside of your thing. All right. Make sure to do one side at a time or you will get this weird artifact. All right. So does anyone have any questions on how I got here?
How did you get the shape so perfect? How did you get the shape so perfect?
Well, I used the reference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm not entirely correct, but mostly it's following the shape of our reference.
Okay.
Once you're done with that, I have to really quickly go over materials. Any questions? No? Okay, so this next part is really simple. I'm gonna do it really quickly, then give you 3 minutes to catch up. Hold on. Okay. Let's save this. Oh yeah. All right, so you're gonna come here and click on material properties. And it's gonna show one material. It's gonna be this boring gray color. If I go into our render view. So here's a boring gray color. We want it to be a kind of metallic color. So we're gonna play around with the base color. Just click on this white square here. And we're gonna bring the brightness of our shape down until we get an appreciably gray color. Any questions on materials so far? To get that, there's this ball down here that's checkered patterned. You're going to click on that, material properties. It's on the right side of your screen. Wood-like pattern. Usually you would set your base color to a image file, but we're not covering that today. That was using a material asset from the internet. Anyways, so we have this gunmetal gray kind of color. We're going to go down there and you see metallic. We're going to crank that to about halfway. So our surface should be kind of shiny, kind of reflective. And then there's also the roughness value, and we're going to bring that down. Not all the way. Please do not go all the way. It'll look kind of weird looking like that. Once you're done with that, we're going to tab.
Like, how did you get the windows again?
The windows, you're going to go into tab. I have to go over this anyways. You're going to go in the tab. You're going to subdivide your shape by right clicking. Make sure. So when you tab in and you have face select on, you can select different faces with shift right click or left click, I mean. And then you're going to right click those selected faces and you can subdivide.
Okay, like, do you just like, okay, so you do tab and then right click subdivide?
Not the whole shape. You have to select the faces first by clicking on them. And then once you're subdivided, you're going to select all the different windows that you're going to need.
Can I be in the breakout room?
Yeah, Ayan, if you can facilitate that. So anyways, for the people who are to this stage or want to know, so I'm only gonna do one side, so I'm not burning time, but we're gonna select our windows that we created, and we don't want them to be the gray color because that's gonna look weird. So we're gonna go up here. There's a plus sign. It's called Add Material Slot. Does everyone know where to find that? Anyone have trouble finding that? All right, everyone found. Oh, well, one person found it. Anyways, we're gonna create a new material. You'll actually see new here. We're gonna click on new, and we're gonna ignore everything we did before. We're going to come down here. You'll see a black bar here next to the word emission. So that's what light our texture is currently emitting. And we're gonna click on that and change that to kind of white or orange or yellow color, whatever color you want your light to be. And then when you're done with that, we're going to use the assign button. And that will assign it to only our windows, and you'll see kind of like this. And of course, you can kind of play around with that a little. Maybe I don't want it quite so bright of a color. All right, any questions? I'm sorry for the rush. I mean, this is kind of a bit more complicated than we usually do. Last time we had to do this in 2 hours. For the top, these two, the handle and whatever, basically it's the same thing as before. You go into the base color and you can change the color either to the gunmetal gray as before, or I prefer kind of brown color. And so you basically just play around in those color settings until you see the color you like. It's kind of how I do it. Once you've done all of the faces, should kind of resemble, here's sample project. Where's the sample? Different try. Okay. All right. It's kind of a sample of how you can use your lantern. And I've got a whole bunch of other stuff, random stuff. But here's your lantern. All right. Any questions? Because we're about out of time.
Yep. Thank you, Jason. I'm sorry. I'm sorry we had to go so fast today. There's just so much to cover and so many cool things about Blender that you want to show you. I'm gonna post a little feedback form in the chat, so you guys tell us what to change.
Also, guys.
Yes.
Also, like the D, do you like Control D actually or Shift D? Like because.
Shift D to duplicate.
Yeah.
No, not. I mean, like to make it go back. To make it. Go back.
You press E.
E. Okay. Sorry, that was Shift D.
I'll just, for the fun of it, put up the pictures. Then I rendered this afternoon. We couldn't cover it this time because we don't have time, but for next time. Yeah.
How do you pan again?
Pan is with shift and middle click.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I also have the squares colored. So do I just press Shift E?
Not Shift E. You could just press E. Just the key. You don't need to press anything else. Just E.
Got it. Because like, okay, yeah, it's just like I can't really scale it.
I guess that's all we have to cover for now. But
Yeah.
thank you guys so much for joining. We'll see you next time. And next time we're going to be making a well. Here, if I show the picture right here. But next time we're going to be making a well, this well right here. And we hope to see you there. That's going to be July 15th.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you. What do you get the color again?
Okay, so Ayan, debrief and
Yeah, 1 second.
all right.